Hello students. Uh, in the last video we have seen the TCON register, which is an 8-bit register. Here in this only the upper nibble is used for timer, and these are the bits. TF1 and TF0 are the timer overflow flag bits. TF1 is for timer 1 and TF0 is for timer 0. TR1 and TR0 are the timer run control bit. If you want to start or stop the timer, you are going to use these bits. TR1 is for timer 1 and TR0 is for timer 0. And this is the TMOD register that we have seen. This is also an 8-bit register. TMOD register is the timer mode register. In this, you can observe the lower nibble and the upper nibble contain the same bits, 4 bits. But the lower nibble is for timer 0 and the upper nibble is for timer 1. So bit 7-3, that is the gate bit. If it is 1, it means you are trying to enable the timer using hardware means. If it is 0, it means you are trying to enable the timer using software means. That is, you are using few instructions to start or stop the timer. Next, bit 6-2, that is C bar T, counter or timer bit. If this bit is 1, it means use it as a counter. If this bit is 0, then use it as a timer or a delay generator. Then bit 5 and 4 and 1 and 0, they are for M1 and M0 bit. They are known as timer or counter mode select bit. Let us see an example for this. Here we have one question. Indicate which mode and which timer are selected for each of the following values of T mode. So if you move 01H into T mode register, which is the mode selected and the timer selected. So this will be the content of the T mode register when we move 01H into T mode. Here you can observe the upper nibble is completely 0. It means timer 1 is not selected. Next, we have to look at the lower nibble. Here, the value is 0, 1 for M1 and M0. So 0, 1 is for mode 1. Hence, mode 1 of timer 0 is selected. Okay. Next, similarly, if you have 20H in T mode register, you can see the value here. In this case, the lower nibble is completely 0. It means timer 0 is not selected. Timer 1 is selected, and in that the mode is 10 stands for mode 2. So mode 2 of timer 1 is selected. Next value is 12H. In this, here you have both the timers being selected. In the upper nibble, you can see the value for M1 and M0 is 01. 01 is for mode 1, and since it's the upper nibble, it is for timer 1. So mode 1 of timer 1 is selected, and in the lower nibble, the value is 10. 10 is mode 2. Mode 2 of timer 0 is selected. Both the timers are selected, but with the different modes. Another example, this is also very important. Find the timer's clock frequency and its period for various 8051 based system with the crystal frequency 11.0592 megahertz when the C bar T bit is of T mod is 0. The solution here is, whenever you want to find out the timer's clock frequency, you have to take 1 divided by 12 of the crystal frequency. Here the given crystal frequency is 11.0529. When you perform this operation, the answer that you get is 921.6 megahertz. Now this is your timer's clock frequency. Next is, from this you have to find out the timer's period. So the formula is time period equal to 1 divided by frequency, and the frequency value is 921.6 megahertz. The overall answer what you get is 1.085 microseconds. This is how you need to calculate the timer's clock frequency as well as its period. The next question, find the value for T mod. If we want to program timer 0 in mode 2, use 8051 Xtile for the clock source and use instructions to start and stop the timer. So you have to analyze the question and then you have to answer it. Okay. So first, what is given? We want to program timer 0. It means your lower nibble cannot be completely 0. Your upper nibble, that is for timer 1, has to be completely 0. Okay. In mode 2, what is the value for mode 2? It is 1 0. So in the lower nibble you will get 0 0 1 0. Okay. Next, what about the C bar T bit? It is 0 because you are using the internal clock source. If you use any external source, then it will behave like a counter. Since you are using internal source, it behaves like a timer. And gate equal to 0 because you are using software means to start and stop the timer. Therefore, gate bit is equal to 0. Okay, these two are 0 0. Mode 1 programming. So these are the following characteristics and operations of mode 1 programming. When is the mode 1? Mode 1 is a 16-bit timer mode wherein the values are 0 and 1 for M1 and M0. Let us see the steps here. Mode, since the timer is a 16-bit, it allows value of 00000 to FFFFH to be loaded into the timers register, which are the TL and TH register. So once TL and TH registers are loaded, the timer has to be started, and to start the timer, the instruction is set to be TR0 for timer 0 and set to be TR1 for timer 1. After the timer is started, it starts to count up. It counts up until it reaches its limit. What is the limit? End value FFFFH. Okay. When it rolls over from FFFFH to 00, it sets high a flag bit called TF, that is the timer flag. If you are using timer 0, TF0 will be set. If you are using timer 1, TF1 will be set. And this timer flag can be monitored. So when this timer flag is raised, one option would be to stop the timer. If you want to stop the timer, you have to use the clear instruction along with either TR0 bit or TR1 bit. Otherwise, if you want to repeat the process, after the timer reaches its limit and rolls over, if you want to repeat the process, then what you have to do? You have to reload TH and TL with original value, and again TF must be reloaded to 0. This is how you have to do. These are the two options whenever a rollover happens. Let us see it with example. Now in this diagram you can see here you have the TH and TL register and the TF bit. All are set to 0 initially. Let us see what is the first step. Initially T mod is set to 0 1 value. So whenever we have 0 1 value, which mode is selected? So here we have, if T mod is equal to 0 1H, mode 1 of timer 0 is selected. Hence, mode 1 of timer 0 is selected, a 16-bit timer. Second step, load TL and TH with initial count values. Here, always in TL, we'll have the initial value, and in TH, we'll have the end value. It means the count begins with F to H here, and it ends whenever it reaches FFH value. Okay. So, every time the count will be incremented. F2 now became F3. Then select the timer, that is TR0 equal to 1. You are selecting the timer here. Now keep monitoring the timer flag, that is TF flag, to see if it is raised. What should be done when TF becomes high? We should either stop the timer or we have to repeat the process by reloading the values in TH and TL. Now this is the situation when a rollover happens. Now you can observe in TH and TL, both are having the value FF. So the end value has been reached. Hence the TF flag is being set. Now clear the TF flag for the next round. If you want to repeat, clear the TF flag and reload this TH and TL register with initial values. Let us see the example here. With a frequency of 22 megahertz, generate a frequency of 100 kilohertz on pin P0.1. This is a C program. Let us see line by line. First line is the preprocessor line. As we know, register 51 is the header file which is used for 8051C programming. And the purpose of this line is to include all the predefined functions from this file. Next, the second line, S bit pin equal to P0 caret 1. S bit, as we know, it's the data type. Pin is the variable name, and it is being referred to the port 0's first bit. We are referring to P0.1. In the main function, as we know, we have to first select the mode. So we are selecting the mode here, select the timer and its mode of operation. Whenever it's 1, 0, it means timer 1 is selected and the mode 1 is selected. Next, TL1 is equal to F7. This is the initial value from where the count has to start. It is loaded into TL1 register. And in TH1 register, we have the end value, that is double FH. It means the count starts from F7H up to double FH. Next, TR1 equal to 1. We have to select timer 1. We have already selected the mode. Next thing is we have to select the timer. While TF1 is equal to 0. These are the initial values in TH1 and TL1. TH1 is having double F and TL1 is having F7, which is the initial value. We have to monitor TF1 to become high. Here you can see how the values are calculated. This calculation shows you what should be the initial value in TL1 or TL0. So we know how to calculate timer frequency. In the question, the crystal frequency given is 22 megahertz. Therefore, the timer frequency according to this will be 1.833 megahertz. Using this, we need to calculate time period, which is equal to 1 divided by F, and the answer we get is 0.546 microseconds. Now we got the time period. So to generate the frequency of 100 kilohertz, we have to take time period as 1 divided by 100, that is equal to 10 microsecond. So 10 microsecond is required here. For 100 kilohertz square wave, half of it for high and low portion each will require 5 microseconds each. Half for high and half for low. It means 10 divided by 2, you'll get 5 microsecond value. Now what we have to do? So the 5 microsecond divided by the time period, we get 9 machine cycles. So 9 machine cycles are required to repeat this process, that is to count from F7 to double FH. The number of counts for rollover will be 65536, which is the decimal value of double FFH minus the number of machine cycles, that is 9. So overall we got F7H. If you want to increase the count value, you have to change the value in TL1 register. So once the process is over, you have to stop the timer, that is TR1 equal to 0, and complement the pin. Okay, so you are going to complement the pin, that is P0.1, because you want high and low pulse. And then TF1 is equal to 0. Clear the time flag, because if you want to repeat the process, and after this repeat the process. In the next example, here we are going to have a delay function, and this program is about toggling the bits. Here initially we are having value double F 55H in port 0, so which will blink all the even LEDs. Here you can see all the even LEDs have been started. Whenever we send 55H to 40. After this, the delay function is called. So earlier when we have written the delay function, you might have observed we have written the delay functions using loops. But now we are going to use the timers. As I told earlier, whenever you use a timer to generate a delay, that delay will be more precise compared to a delay generated using loops. So inside the delay function, the first step is selecting the timer and its mode of operation. So 01H, if it is selected, you know that timer 0 is selected and mode 1. Next, we need to have the initial values in TL0 and TH0. TL0 is having the initial value F2H, and what is the end value? End value is double FH. It means we should count from F2H to double FH. Then start the timer using TR0 bit. While we have to uh, have this while loop while TF0 is equal to 0 until the flag value is 0, until the flag is not raised, we have to continue the loop. We have to count. So number of counts for the rollover will be the maximum limit minus the value FF F2H. This is FF F2H equal to 13 we got in decimal. 13 plus 1 because one extra clock cycle is required for rollover. So overall the total number of counts will be 14. So delay equal to 14 into 1.085 microseconds. So this much delay will be generated from your function. So here we have the process, how we got this 1.085 microsecond clock period. Whenever the crystal frequency is not mentioned, the standard frequency taken is 11.0592 megahertz. After the process is over, you have to turn off the timer. So TR0 equal to 0. Then clear the TF0 flag, and you can see when we pass double AH values here, the odd numbers of LEDs will be glowing. Then again, once again, delay is called. So one more example. In the following program, we create a square wave of 50% duty cycle with equal portions high and low on the P1.5 bit. Timer 0 is used to generate the time delay and analyze the program. The program is being given. The thing what we have to do is we have to analyze the program. So initially move tmod comma hash 01H. Okay. It means timer 0 and mode 1 is selected. Next, move TL0 comma 0F2H. This is the low byte. It is the initial value from where the count begins. This is the end value from where the count has to stop. Then complement P1.5. Toggle the bit and call delay and let's jump here. Okay, so the solution is given. Every step is being analyzed here. Initially tmod is loaded. Next FF F2H is loaded into TH0 and TL0, and P1.5 is toggled for high and low portions of the pulse. Next, delay. So just now what we have seen is a delay function. The same is being written here. The next example. Here we have, keeping in mind in the example 4, calculate the amount of time delay in delay subroutine generated by the timer. This also already we have done. So we got 15.92 microsecond. 2 times the delay function has been called. Therefore, 2 into 15.19 microsecond. Overall, this much delay has been generated from our program. If you call delay 4 times, again, it means you have to multiply this value into 4. Next, this is a different type of question. Calculate the frequency of square wave generated on P1.5. So here, we have a square wave generated on port 1.5. Now we have to calculate the frequency. So in the timer delay calculation of 5, we did not include the overhead due to the instruction in loop. Now we'll use the cycles here. Okay. Machine cycles. For example, for the instruction move TL0, 0 F2H, the machine cycle is 2. Similarly, it is different for different instruction. It is available from the table. Now, time period equal to 2 into 28 into 1.085. This is the timer's clock frequency. This is the time period, and 28 is the total number of cycles required. And since 2 times the delay is called, so 2. So overall, it is 60.76 microseconds. And F is equal to, if you get T, you can find out F. So T equal to 1 by F and F equal to 1 by T. We will get frequency as 16.